You are listening to Housekeepers Chat by the United States Department of Agriculture from 1927. Disclaimer: this is read from a historic archive document. Do not assume content reflects current scientific knowledge, policies, or practices. This broadcast was aired on Wednesday, the 23rd of March of 1927.
Aunt Sammy's chat today suggests a remedy for that tired feeling, sometimes known as spring fever. A good menu, too, from the United States Bureau of Home Economics.
Does spring weather make you want to write poetry? I hoped I could survive at least one spring without feeling the poetic urge, but yesterday morning, while I was mopping the kitchen floor, right in front of the sink, I thought of a perfectly good verse. It rhymes, and it has a certain sort of rhythm if it is accented correctly, like this: gentle spring zephyrs, waft ever to me, memories of senna and sassafras tea. When I was a child, my grandmother used to prescribe a tonic for me every spring as soon as I began to loiter on the way home from school and beg off from doing my daily chores. Spring fever, grandmother would say. What you need is a good strong cup of sassafras tea. I knew that I'd have to take sulfur and molasses or something even more distasteful if I didn't drink tea, so I cheerfully drank tea. As a spring tonic, sassafras tea wasn't so bad, although, with all due respect to grandmother, I doubt whether she knew that the chief value of the tea lay in the water it contained and in the outdoor exercise required in gathering the bark. What is spring fever, anyway? To most of us, spring fever means the lazy feeling which comes over us during the first warm days of early spring, days when we want to do nothing but relax and rest in the warm sunshine and maybe write poetry. But there is another kind of spring fever which demands some attention. Persons who have this type of spring fever are not simile lazy, but they have a sluggish feeling, which indicates that their bodies are not in good running order. We eat food to nourish our bodies. The part that does not nourish our bodies should be thrown off as waste matter. Fruits and vegetables help rid the body of waste matter. In the winter time, when fruits and vegetables are expensive or hard to obtain, our bodies may not get enough mineral matter and vitamins. These act as body regulators. In the summer, when we eat an abundance of fresh fruits and vegetables, our bodies can store up a surplus of some of the valuable food materials they contain. This surplus becomes depleted sometimes in the spring if the diet has been limited during the winter. Very likely your family will not need a spring tonic if you have been including in your daily meals plenty of such vegetables as carrots, turnips, celery, cabbage, and parsnips, lettuce, good old-fashioned sauerkraut, and the canned kinds. Oranges, apples, and grapefruit help to ward off spring fever, and if fresh fruits are not obtainable, dried fruits, apricots, prunes, figs, raisins, and so forth, are a very good substitute. For the season just before fresh green vegetables are available, I would include the foods I have mentioned. Canned tomatoes, lots of canned tomatoes. I know a man who drinks buttermilk in the spring for its tonic qualities. Water, too, 3 or 4 pints a day, is an excellent tonic. Almost before we realize it, the wild greens will be ready for table use. Dandelion leaves, dock, wild mustard, lamb's quarter or pigweed, watercress, and sorrel. Do you know that sorrel is often used as flavoring with mild greens and in salads? Then there are the cultivated greens. Every garden should contain some of these: spinach, Swiss chard, kale, mustard, horseradish, young turnip tops, and beet tops. Greens, whether they're wild or cultivated, add variety to the diet and stimulate capricious appetites. They furnish building material for children, help prevent constipation, and supply the vitamins needed for normal health. They have a laxative effect, due largely to the cellulose or woody fiber they contain. There's iron in greens too, just as there is in expensive tonics, put up in fancy glass bottles. Along with spring greens comes rhubarb. Rhubarb is a good appetizer. Spring tonic also comes from the poultry yard in the form of eggs. Egg yolks are one of the iron-rich foods. Eggs rank high among the vitamin foods, too. Liver is another rich source of iron and vitamins and is sometimes given to people suffering from anemia. There's another year-round tonic I haven't mentioned, and that is cod liver oil. It is really a food rich in vitamins. If you have a husband or an uncle who feels that he must have a tonic which comes in a bottle, which he can take from a spoon, give him cod liver oil. When the members of my family begin to grow listless and lose their appetites, I take special pains that my meals shall include plenty of fresh vegetables, canned tomatoes, fresh or dried fruits, and eggs. Such foods as these put grandmother's yarbs clear out of the running as spring tonics. Now, to show you how consistent I am, I shall give you a menu which calls for at least 6 vegetables. The main dish is an oxtail stew, broadcast by request. The person who requested this recipe says he simply dotes on oxtail stew, but his wife never makes a stew which appeals to him as much as the stews his mother used to make. If his wife is listening in today and will take down this recipe, I believe the man will be highly satisfied. That is, if his wife adds just the right seasoning to the stew and cooks the vegetables just long enough. Ready for the recipe? 11 ingredients for oxtail stew. 1 oxtail, 2½ quarts water, 4 carrots diced, 2 turnips diced, 2 onions sliced, 1 large potato diced, 2 tablespoons butter, 1 teaspoon Worcestershire or other seasoning, salt and pepper to taste, 1 tablespoon parsley, chopped fine, slices of lemon, 11 ingredients, check them please. 1 oxtail, 2½ quarts water, 4 carrots diced, 2 turnips diced, 2 onions sliced, 1 large potato diced, 2 tablespoons butter, 1 teaspoon Worcestershire or other seasoning, salt and pepper to taste, 1 tablespoon parsley, chopped fine, slices of lemon. Wash the oxtail, cut in short lengths, and brown it in its own fat. Cook the onions in the butter, add to the meat with 1½ quarts of the water, and simmer until the meat is tender. In the meantime, cook the carrots and turnips for 10 minutes in 1 quart of the water and add to the meat with the water in which they cooked. Add also the potatoes, the sauce, and the salt and pepper. When the vegetables are soft, thicken the stew with a small quantity of flour mixed with a little cold water to a smooth paste. Cook until thickened. Sprinkle with the parsley and garnish with slices of lemon. With this stew, I would serve toasted bread, crackers, or crisp biscuits and butter. If you want a salad, a crisp lettuce salad or cabbage salad would be appetizing. For dessert, I suggest gingerbread decorated with a big tablespoonful of whipped cream. Let's check the menu. Oxtail stew, lettuce or cabbage salad, and gingerbread with whipped cream. I have an especially good recipe for tomorrow, caramel or burnt sugar cake. This recipe has been requested a number of times lately, and I hope that all the persons who asked for it will be listening in tomorrow. Please continue to send me suggestions. I'll try to get the recipes you ask for and add them later to the spring supplement of the radio cookbook.
This broadcast was researched and produced by Breakaway Empire LLC.